Maybe it's the constant worry about what lies ahead. Maybe it's the sudden burst of frustration when things don't go your way. Or perhaps it's that paralyzing dread that keeps you from stepping forward. Have you ever felt like you're stuck inside a storm of negative thoughts, unable to find shelter? These feelings don't just sap your strength, they smother your joy. But you're not alone in this. We've all faced moments of emotional turmoil, asking ourselves, how do I escape this? That's where Stoic philosophy steps in. It's more than ancient wisdom. It's a blueprint for handling difficult emotions with strength and clarity. It teaches us that peace isn't the absence of emotion, but the result of managing our mind in a way that emotions don't consume us. The journey won't be effortless, but it's absolutely possible. And if you're ready to take that first step, what you're about to hear isn't just theory. It's a reflection of lived moments, sharpened by Stoic insight and personal growth. Stay fully present. Don't skip a second. Every word can be a turning point. Let's begin this journey of inner strength together. 1. Realize your mind can generate happiness. The human mind is nothing short of extraordinary, a powerful engine capable of producing every emotion imaginable, from profound sadness to euphoric bliss. And yet, most of us don't know how to properly operate it. Instead of serving us, our own minds often become our greatest source of pain. Not because the mind is faulty, but because we allow it to run without conscious direction, like pressing the wrong keys on an emotional piano. Visualize this. You're sitting in a peaceful room. Your mind, like a keyboard, begins typing out stories of worry, failure, or regret. But why not choose to compose something different? Why not write in gratitude, joy, and cherished memories? Just as a skilled pianist selects the notes to create harmony, you too can guide your thoughts to craft an emotional state that uplifts you. When you're overcome by a wave of negativity, it's rarely because life lacks goodness. More often, it's because you've unintentionally activated mental habits that focus on the painful. Consider a simple morning. You wake up and immediately think of what's unfinished or unresolved. It spirals into stress and fatigue. But what if you paused and thought instead, I'm alive. I have a new chance today. Would your energy shift? Joy isn't some elusive treasure buried outside of you. It's always been inside, obscured by your focus on external approval, achievement, or reward. Stoicism reminds us that authentic joy begins with thought discipline. When you cease feeding thoughts that drain you, happiness begins to emerge on its own. Imagine this. It's late in the afternoon. You're tired. There's more to do. If you dwell on pressure, your mind produces more stress. But if you stop, take a breath, look at the sky, or listen to a calming sound, you awaken peace that was always present, just forgotten. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Too often our minds are lost between what's ahead and what's behind. Regret, fear, assumptions, but none of that exists in the now. Picture a time with your family. Were you truly present? Or did work or worry steal your attention? Had you just paused, breathed, and observed the moment, you'd have discovered the joy already there. Here's a simple technique. When you feel a dark cloud forming in your thoughts, ask, am I hitting the wrong key? Then gently shift the focus. Think of one thing you're grateful for, one memory that warms you, one hope you haven't abandoned. That's how you start transforming your mind, from a source of suffering to a sanctuary of peace. This isn't just an abstract idea, it's a habit you can begin right now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself. in your way of thinking. 2. Learn to direct the mind. Once you understand that your thoughts have the power to shape your emotional world, a deeper truth emerges. Your peace doesn't come from outside events, but from how you interpret them. This understanding is your foundation. But to build anything lasting on it, you need the next step, training the mind to serve you instead of overwhelm you. So how do you begin steering the mind instead of being steered by it? The Stoics taught that suffering doesn't originate in the world. It starts in our judgments about the world. It isn't what happens to us that causes distress, but how we perceive it and what story we attach to it. Think about those moments when anger got the best of you. Maybe you lashed out, raised your voice, said things you later regretted. And how did you feel afterwards? Not peaceful, not empowered. Anger doesn't resolve conflict, it often deepens it. Seneca once said, "Anger, if left unchecked, often causes more harm than the injury that triggered it." So ask yourself, is momentary rage ever worth your long-term calm? Emotions like anger and anxiety aren't alien invaders. They aren't enemies outside of you. They are emotional patterns created by a mind running on autopilot. Think of your mind as a strong, untamed animal, a horse without reins. If you don't guide it, it bolts toward whatever emotional stimulus appears, dragging you with it. The presence of strong emotions like fear or frustration is a sign. Your mind has taken control and you're just holding on. So how do you retake the reins? The first shift is to stop fighting your mind and start working with it. When you feel yourself heating up with anger, don't immediately react. Pause, breathe, ask, where is this coming from? Is this worth my peace? What would happen if I didn't respond with anger? This pause creates space, and in that space, you find your power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are troubled by something external, the pain doesn't come from the thing itself, but from your judgment of it. And this you can erase at any moment." You always have the final word in how you respond. And that ability, the power to choose your inner state, is your truest form of control. Life, as you know, is unpredictable. Some days glide effortlessly. Other days, the smallest trigger, traffic, a careless word, can feel like a wrecking ball. This is where Stoic practice matters most. You can't control the waves, but you can learn to sail. Picture yourself driving. You can't prevent every reckless driver, but you can slow down, stay alert, and keep yourself safe. This same awareness applies to your mind. You won't stop all negativity, but you can choose how to engage with it. Mastering the mind is like developing physical strength. It doesn't come from one workout. It's built through steady, daily effort. Try this. The next time a situation stirs anxiety, instead of spiraling, focus on your breath. Remind yourself, this will pass. I can respond, not react. Training your mind doesn't mean eliminating every negative thought. It means learning to coexist with them, without letting them dictate your actions. Emotions are part of being alive. But when you learn to direct the mind, those emotions no longer control the steering wheel. You do. You become the calm in the storm, the one who remains anchored even when the winds rise. When the mind is trained, it doesn't just reduce suffering, it becomes a wellspring of clarity, resilience, and strength. So ask yourself, are you steering your thoughts, or are they driving you? We want to hear your reflection. What's been your greatest challenge in calming your mind? Have you experienced moments where choosing a different thought led to peace? Share your story in the comments. Now, let's take that clarity into the next truth. 3. Stop letting imagination spiral. When anger, anxiety, or fear show up, have you ever paused to ask, where is this really coming from? Chances are, it didn't come from what actually happened. It came from what you thought might happen. Most of our emotional pain doesn't come from reality, but from what we imagine reality could become. Think back to a recent anxious moment. Was it based on fact or a prediction your mind created? Maybe you pictured yourself failing in a presentation, or assumed a text meant something bad, or feared the worst from an email with no context. But how many of those fearful thoughts actually came true? Very few, if any. Epictetus once noted, "Men are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." What disturbs us is not the world. It's the inner movies our mind directs and plays on repeat. And our minds? They're brilliant filmmakers. The only problem is they often produce horror films, ones where everything goes wrong, where worst-case scenarios take center stage. Now picture this. You're sitting at home, nothing has happened. But in your mind, you're reliving a confrontation, worrying about tomorrow's outcome, or imagining judgment from others. Your heart starts racing, you feel anxious, you suffer. And yet, nothing has actually occurred. It was just a projection, a mental illusion. So ask yourself, if your mind is capable of inventing terrifying stories out of thin air, why not use that same imagination to build stories of hope? Be the director of something better. Imagine that meeting going well. Picture that phone call ending in laughter. Visualize success instead of failure. It's not naive, it's training. And like a muscle, it gets stronger with practice. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes. Think of something beautiful. A memory, a hope, a possibility. You just proved it. You can shift the scene. Consider this example. You get a message from your partner saying, "We need to talk." Immediately, your brain races. You imagine conflict, disappointment, or betrayal. Your mood drops. But when you finally talk, it turns out they just wanted to share exciting news or plan a surprise. The emotional damage was self-inflicted, caused by imagination, not reality. And this is the core message. Most fears aren't real. They're assumptions, mental fiction. And the more you believe them, the more you suffer. You can't stop the mind from imagining, but you can train it to not believe every scenario it creates. Here's what to do. The next time fear creeps in, whisper to yourself, "This is a story. It hasn't happened. I can let it go." Let your inner world be a place of peace, not torment. Craft thoughts that comfort you, not wound you. Seneca put it clearly, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So if the real world already presents challenges, at the very least, let your inner world be a place of refuge. This isn't wishful thinking, it's mental discipline. Imagination is powerful, but it's your tool, not your master. Let it serve you, not sabotage you. And once you stop constructing mental traps, you'll discover that reality, even when hard, is rarely as heavy as what your mind had imagined. Let that be your freedom. 4. Change the way you define emotions. Clearing the mental fog caused by imagination brings a sense of calm, but that's not the end of the road. If you want to truly shift your emotional world, you need to look at how you define what you're feeling, because the label you give an emotion determines the power it has over you. Picture this common scene. You wake up to grey skies, a heavy to-do list, and a mood that sinks before the day even begins. You say, "This day is ruined." But pause and ask, did the rain really ruin anything? Or did your interpretation of the rain make it feel that way? Rain is just water falling from the sky. It has no emotion, no agenda. It's your narrative, your label, that turned it into a problem. Now imagine calling it something else, a chance to slow down, a moment to enjoy warmth indoors, a reminder to reflect. One shift in label, and the emotion shifts with it. Every emotion begins with a thought, and every thought is just a passing wave in your mental ocean. But here's the issue. Most people don't even realize what they're thinking. Their minds act like runaway machines, constantly reacting, labeling, judging. So anxiety, anger, fear, they aren't inherently bad. They gain strength only when you accept the labels blindly. Let's say you're prepping for a big meeting. Your hands are shaking, your heart is pounding. You say, "I'm too anxious to do this." But what if, instead, you said, "This is energy. This means I care. This means I'm alive." Suddenly, anxiety becomes excitement. Fear becomes fuel. Stress becomes motivation. Emotions are not enemies, they're messengers, signals that you're engaged, that something matters, that you're on the edge of growth. There's no such thing as good or bad thoughts. There are only conscious and unconscious ones. Conscious thoughts are chosen with intent. They serve you. Unconscious ones are reactions, automatic, often self-sabotaging. The more you let your unconscious mind define your feelings, the more you become a passenger, reacting, not responding. That's where suffering multiplies. Many try to suppress or kill their emotions, hoping that silence means peace. But what happens when you try not to think of something? Let's try it. For the next 10 seconds, don't think of a red apple. What happened? Exactly. It popped into your mind even stronger, because resistance intensifies what you try to avoid. It's the same with emotions. The harder you push them down, the louder they become. Instead of fighting, reframe. Nervousness? That's care. Frustration? That's a signal something matters. Fear? That's a sign you're stepping beyond the familiar. Emotions then become guides, not threats. This is the Stoic approach, not to detach from life's feelings, but to see them clearly. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. If you've made it this far, that's a sign of real dedication. It shows you're not just interested, you're ready to transform. You've already begun the process of reclaiming authority over your inner world. This new lens, redefining emotions, is a powerful one. Don't keep it to yourself. Like this lesson, share it and bring others along your path. The more we grow together, the stronger we become. Now let's move into the next layer of Stoic wisdom. 5. Understand the mechanics of the mind. One of the most powerful steps in breaking free from emotional turmoil is developing a real understanding of how your mind functions. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Yet isn't it ironic? The very tool we have the most influence over is often the one we grasp the least. When we fail to understand the mechanisms of our thoughts, we fall victim to their loops, getting pulled into storms of worry, fear, or frustration without knowing how we got there. So let's explore the inner workings of the mind. Imagine your mind as a garden. Leave it untended and weeds, in the form of negative thoughts, will spread. But if you cultivate it with care and intention, it will flourish with calm, clarity, and resilience. The mind, however, doesn't work like scissors. You can't just cut out anxious or fearful thoughts like they never existed. In fact, the harder you try to remove them, the louder they echo. It's like this. Try not to picture a purple tiger. You just did, right? That's the paradox. What you push away becomes louder. What you try to ignore becomes the center of your focus. Epictetus said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." Instead of resisting, ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Maybe fear is alerting you to prepare better. Maybe anxiety is reminding you to slow down. Maybe frustration is pointing towards something you deeply value. Seen in this way, your emotions aren't problems, they're feedback. And feedback is how we grow. Think of your mind as a high-performance vehicle. It's powerful, fast, capable of great things. But without a driver, it veers off course, crashes, wastes fuel. You are the driver. Without awareness, your thoughts wander, spiraling into scenarios and catastrophes that don't exist. But with control, you guide your thinking, intentionally, wisely, clearly. Have you ever been gripped by anxiety before a big moment? A job interview, a crucial conversation, a test? Your mind may have said, "What if I mess up? What if I look foolish?" But what if instead you said, "This is a chance to learn. Mistakes don't define me. Effort does." That small shift changes everything, because your mind multiplies whatever you focus on. Dwell on failure, and it expands. Focus on progress, and it grows stronger. A single harsh thought like, "I'm not good enough," can repeat until it becomes a belief. But the moment you say, "I'm improving, I've come far," your brain begins building a different path. This isn't abstract. It's brain wiring. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition. So start small. Whenever an emotion takes over, pause, breathe, and ask, where did this come from? Is it as big as it feels? Is it worth giving away my peace? These questions create space. And in that space, you find clarity. You begin to see that your thoughts aren't you. They are just weather patterns passing through the sky of your mind. And you? You are the sky, calm, vast, and unaffected by the clouds. The most transformative thing you can do for your well-being is this. Stop fighting your mind. Start understanding it. It isn't an enemy. It's your greatest ally, if you learn how to use it. Ask yourself now, what thoughts are shaping my life today? Do they move me toward calm or chaos? You get to decide. Let's take that insight forward into the next practice. 6. Step back from your thoughts. Now that you've gained insight into how the mind works, there's a deeper truth to embrace. You are not your thoughts. Emotions like anxiety, anger, or sadness aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They are simply the natural output of an active, untrained mind. But understanding this isn't enough. To stop being dragged by your mental patterns, you must learn the art of mental distance, the ability to observe your thoughts without becoming them. It's like standing back from a painting. Up close, the details may seem chaotic, but with space, the image becomes clear. Let's say you're in a crucial meeting and suddenly a thought interrupts. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they think I'm clueless? That thought sparks fear, tightens your chest, and floods your body with anxiety. But pause. Was that fear really based on fact? Or did your mind build a story, and your body just followed along? Most of the time, it's the narrative, not the event, that causes distress. So how do we change this? By becoming an observer, not a participant. Visualize your mind as the open sky and thoughts as passing clouds. Some clouds are light and fleeting, others are heavy and dark, but none of them define the sky. You are the sky. When you witness thoughts without attaching to them, something amazing happens. You no longer believe everything they say. One practical way to build this awareness is through labeling. Instead of drowning in the feeling, say to yourself, "This is anxiety. This is frustration. This is fear." Giving your emotion a name gives it boundaries. It goes from overwhelming to observable. Science backs this up. Naming emotions lowers their intensity and brings mental clarity. And so does Stoicism. The Stoics taught that awareness is the first step to mastery, not to deny emotions, but to understand them so they no longer control you. Let's take this further. When you're caught in emotional tension, your vision narrows. You zoom into the problem and lose sight of the bigger picture. In those moments, ask, will this matter a week from now? A month? A year? Or better, is this something I can control? If yes, take action. If not, let go. Trying to control what's beyond your reach only breeds suffering. Another way to build distance is through mindfulness. Each time a strong thought arises, pause. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your focus to the now, to your breath, your body, your presence. Doing this repeatedly trains your brain to separate thinking from being. You don't need to silence the mind. You only need to stop obeying it blindly. Let thoughts flow, but you decide which ones get your energy. It's like watching a river. You don't have to dive into the current. You can stand on the bank and watch it pass. Remember this: your mind can be a storm, but you can still be the anchor. And when you master this art of mental detachment, something beautiful happens. Life doesn't get easier, but you become steadier. Affirm it now in the comments: I am not my thoughts. Because you're not, you're the witness. And with that awareness, you gain true freedom. Now, let's turn to our final lesson, the one that makes all others sustainable. 7. Train your mind daily to conquer negativity. Once you've learned to separate yourself from your thoughts, the next step is the most important of all: consistency. This final lesson is about turning everything you've discovered into daily action, because mental clarity isn't a one-time breakthrough. It's a discipline. Stoicism teaches that emotional mastery isn't about eliminating negative emotions entirely. That's impossible. Fear, anger, and anxiety are part of being human. But what you can control is your reaction, and that power grows through continuous training. Still, many people hope for a quick fix. They read one book, hear one motivational quote, and expect permanent transformation. That's like expecting to build muscle by going to the gym once, or trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can force it down temporarily, but the moment you stop trying, it shoots up with even more force. Suppressing your emotions without training your mind is the same. They'll resurface, stronger, more disruptive, and harder to manage. The Stoics didn't run from difficult emotions. They trained for them. And so must you. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And he was right. Just like a tree needs time to grow its roots, and a fig needs time to ripen, your mind needs nurturing, patience, and repetition. So start small. When anxiety shows up, don't resist it. Question it. Ask, will this matter in 5 years? That one question stretches your view and makes the fear smaller. Let's look at a real scenario. Imagine you're preparing to present in front of your company's leadership. Doubt creeps in. What if I fail? What if I look unprepared? At that moment, you have two options. You can freeze or you can train. Use a Stoic exercise called premeditatio malorum. Visualize the worst-case scenario. Then ask, even if that happened, could I survive it? Learn from it? Recover? Most of the time, the answer is yes. And with that, fear begins to fade. Not because the risk disappeared, but because your courage grew. To reinforce this process, begin a daily habit. Take 5 minutes each night. Write down what made you anxious, angry, or afraid. Then ask, what triggered this? What could I have done differently? This reflection builds self-awareness like a muscle, and over time you'll notice patterns, triggers, false narratives, areas of growth. You'll respond better, recover faster, feel lighter. Training your mind is like brushing your teeth. You don't skip it just because you did it yesterday. It's not a one-time fix. It's hygiene. The truth is, there is no finish line. You'll never reach a point where nothing bothers you, but you'll reach a place where nothing controls you. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about practice. One calm decision at a time, one thoughtful pause at a time, one honest journal entry at a time. You'll grow, and eventually your mind becomes your ally, not your obstacle. So remember this: overcoming negativity doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you learn to feel without falling apart. It means you create space between reaction and response. It means you become a student of yourself every single day. We've now walked through 7 powerful tools inspired by the wisdom of Stoicism, from recognizing the joy your mind can create, to mastering your reactions, to learning how to detach from false stories, to reframing how you define emotions, to building mental resilience through practice. But the most vital piece is this: apply them daily. Let these tools become habits. Let these practices become part of who you are. And slowly but surely, you'll become stronger, calmer, and more grounded. Not just in peaceful moments, but especially in the storm. If this message spoke to you, please like and share it. Someone else out there may need it just as much. Drop a comment. What's one practice you're going to start today? And don't forget to subscribe for more lessons on living with clarity, strength, and peace. Thank you for being here. Remember, the power to shape your life begins with your next thought. Use it wisely.